just if you're gonna hang out around me, be prepared to be menaced. Because in my bug out situation, in all my cars, in the house, all over the place, are AR-15s set up like this or similar to this. And if that's menacing to you, go into your safe space and hang out. Hi folks, Tim Sundles here, and my beautiful wife Kim is filming on her iPhone. Today I want to talk about the 223 and maybe a couple other 22 caliber varmint type cartridges. Kim's getting a kick out of our old packaging. This is when we first made heavy bulleted 223 loads for faster twist barrels. That was back when that was sort of a new thing. You know, when most barrels were 1 in 14 or 1 in 12 rates of twist for shooting 55, 45 grain bullets. And you know, as time went on, people found the virtues of shooting 70 grain bullets. So they started increasing the rate of twist on, you know, barrels of actual factory guns. But in those days, we called this ammo sniper ammo, and you can see the picture of Osama bin Laden on there with, and you know, the little tagline, when you can't afford to miss. We continued with these boxes for our fast twist 223 ammo for many, many years until Cabela's, who became, they became more important with public image than they did products, told us they wouldn't carry this ammo unless we changed the label, because they didn't think it was appropriate to have crosshairs on Osama bin Laden's face. So I thought it was very appropriate myself, but that's how far back this ammo goes. I mean, we started making buffalo bore ammo in the early to mid 1990s, depending on the load. And you know, the Osama bin Laden thing happened in 2000 or 2001. And I instantly, when I came out with this heavy bulleted, fast twist required 223 ammo, I you know, immediately had that label designed. That's my sense of humor, but it's also not really funny. I want to focus on the 223 for a couple things. I want to focus on it for use as a bug out cartridge. As you can see right here, here's 3 223 cartridges versus 1 308. Well, depending on your bullet weights you load into those cartridges, it takes about 3 of these to equal the weight of 1 of those. So when you're looking at emergency preparedness and being portable in a backpack, doesn't much matter if it's portable in a car, but in a backpack, the weight gets really important. And the 223 Remington is a killer of humans. I mean, it just is. If you're looking to protect yourself and others that are with you in a bug out type scenario, you really ought to have 223 ammo in that pack and a 223 rifle sitting beside it ready to go. Another thing you'll want to have in that pack is a handgun, and again, light ammo, 22 Magnum, you know, some little Kel-Tec PMR that holds 25, 30 rounds with a holster so you can strap it on, but it needs to be in your pack so you can pick it up and run with it and then strap it on when you're ready. But 22 mag ammo, you can carry so much of that compared to 9mm ammo, or especially 45 ACP ammo. So when doing the 223 video, I just had to bring out bug out packs. And with your bug out pack, And you can take a bolt action rifle. You don't need to have an AR platform rifle. But if you do have the proper tactical sling installed, so you can wear this over your chest, you can run with it, you can let go of it and have two free hands. And of course, when it's on the sling, it's easily deployed. You know, you just leave it around your body, bring it up and deploy it. So a rifle like this with a proper tactical sling, you know, and I've got all kinds of backup optics. Here's my iron sights, and here's my red dot optic, so that I don't even have to take that red dot optic off. Just use the iron sights right through it. They co-witness. You can see them right through the optic.
You just turned the light on, yeah.
What's that?
You had the light on.
Oh, did I? Oh, yeah,
Turned
right
it
up.
off.
Yeah, the light button is right there. So this thing's completely ready with light, laser, redundancy in sighting systems. And the only thing, I just don't have a tactical sling on it. Would be very easy to attach one. But 30 round magazines, you could have 3 or 4 of these full of ammo in your pack, and it still wouldn't be too heavy.
Unless you're in California.
And why would it be too heavy in California?
No, the magazine.
Oh yeah. Well, if you're in California, especially use 30 round magazines. Screw those people. Screw them. So that put me in a bad mood. As soon as you bring up California and their anti-gun laws, I get kind of sourpussed. Unconstitutional behavior, which is illegal by our governments, is not something that I'm fond of.
Digital IDs do not comply, folks.
Oh my gosh.
More on that in the
Digital
lives.
IDs, you know, a cashless society. You can be tracked every way there is to be tracked, including OnStar in your car or just a satellite phone in your car that isn't turned off. I mean, there are so many ways to be tracked. There's cameras everywhere. Almost every intersection in California has a camera. You can't take a 5-mile drive without them knowing the exact route you took somewhere. Folks, this is Orwellian. I mean, this Big Brother thing and the illegality of it, and the fact that we just allow it with no resistance is super distressing.
Yeah, and be careful, because they're saying it's coming with your new Apple phones and who knows, Samsung, and so they're going to do it without,
for a long time.
yeah, without even knowing.
It has been for a long time. Okay, rifles. These little 223 bolt action rifles are an option if you don't want the AR platform. Now, everybody knocks the AR platform. These are lighter because they're made to be lightweight. Everybody knocks the AR platform because it's too menacing looking, so they say this is less menacing. Well, I gotta tell you, just if you're gonna hang out around me, be prepared to be menaced. Because in my bug out situation, in all my cars, in the house, all over the place, are AR-15s set up like this or similar to this. And if that's menacing to you, go into your safe space and hang out, okay? These guns are tools of freedom meant to keep us safe from invaders, be they civilian or government. And so I wouldn't feel very unarmed with a little bolt action 223. This is the very cool NULA, you know, ultralight arms, new ultralight arms. And they made specifically a scaled down little bolt action that is just absolutely wonderful. And this little rifle with the scope Yeah, it probably comes in somewhere around 5 pounds with the scope. Really a cool little rifle. I never, for my personal use, need more than 20 inches of barrel on a 223. You know, you're going to gain 95 plus, maybe 97 or 8% of the available velocity in most modern 223 loads in a 20-inch barrel. The only advantage you get from a barrel longer than that is you get the muzzle blast further from your face and ears. This rifle is really a cool tool. This rifle was made by Richard Scott of High Tech Specialties as his personal rifle. It's made on one of the little mini Seiko actions. I mean, they're really small, made just for the 223, but he modified this, or made it this way new, to take Ruger Mini 14 magazines. So you can, if you want, you can pop a 20 round magazine in there if you want, or a 30 round. This one's looks like a 10. I mean, so cool. That kind of, you know, it kind of fixes the lack of ammo, you know, for a bolt action by having this thing modified the way it is. And it's just cool. You know, you can shove 3 or 4 spare magazines in your pockets or in your bug out pack or whatever. When Richard got old, and just too old to really shoot much anymore, and you know, for all I know, Richard has passed on. But when Richard got old, I was talking to him one day on the phone, not that many years ago, and he brought up this rifle, and he said, "You always kept trying to buy it from me. If you want it, you can have it for a price." And I went ahead and paid him. I just liked how it was all set up, ready to go, complete with, you know, threaded threads at the muzzle. I mean, just a really nice, really usable, really accurate little rifle. Now, a lot of these were made, like this Kimber, were made with 1 and 12 twists, you know, for shooting the typical 45 to 55 grain bullets. When Richard made this one, he made it with a 1 and 9, and when this one was made, it was made with a 1 and 8. That's how I ordered it. Now, here's something I have just because it's a touch of class. I don't know why else I have it. It's the Kimber. It's the deluxe one with the island, you know, and the quarter rib for your sights and a nice front sight on it and stuff. I bought it with a 2.5 to 7 loophole, and if I ever decide to really start carrying it and using it, I'll put a better scope on it. Right now, it's got that little cheesy old scope. That's not even a 2.5 to 7. That's a 4 power. It's a straight 4 power. A 223 needs a variable. You need to be able to crank it down to like 2, 2.5, or crank it up to 8 or 10 for shooting grasshoppers and stuff like that. Anyway, that's a straight 4 power. So I misspoke, and I hopefully next summer, I've had this rifle for 3 years and haven't had time to get real specific and test it for different loads and see what it shoots best. And then, you know, acquire 1,000 rounds of what it shoots best and just take it out and pop away. Folks, I'm too busy working, doing videos, too busy to really relax and enjoy and fine tune and use all of the really cool guns I have. Now this one is probably the lightest. It's even lighter than the ultralight arms. I mean, even if I put the scope back on, it's lighter than the ultralight arms. This one, like the High Tech Specialties gun, is made on a Seiko action. but it's got a bunch of parts replaced with titanium, and it's been lightened by Swiss cheesing it where they could Swiss cheese it. And I'll tell you the story behind this rifle. Richard Scott, before he started High Tech Specialties, taught the gunsmithing class at, is it Lassen State College? It's somewhere up in Northeast California. And he was the professor, the gunsmithing professor. And he had a new young student named Morris Milani. Well, Morris now has a business making products, aftermarket products for Rugers that I hear are very, very good. And he's up in Alaska, and his business has the name Alaska something. But if you were to Google Morris Milani, I'm not even sure how you spell it. Richard Scott, when he was building me guns, told me about this student of his named Morris. And he said, Morris made the coolest, lightest little 223 I've ever seen. And he said, too bad he's not in business making those. And I said, do you happen to have his phone number? And he gave me his phone number. I called him up and bought this, but then it had a 1 in 14 twist, super duper extra lightweight barrel. And this stock I had repainted, but this stock is made of Kevlar. It's super light, and the barrel that was on it was about half the width in contour, was really thin, and all I could get to shoot out of it was 50 grain and lighter bullets because of the rate of twist. So when I had it rebarreled, I went with a 1 in 9 twist, and I can shoot 70 grain bullets with ease. If you go with like a 1 in 8 or a 1 in 7 twist, holy cow, you can shoot really, really long, sleek, heavy bullets, but you also start to lose the advantage of the velocity of the 223. I mean, the 223 is a cool tool with 55 grain bullets. You can shoot them at 3,200 feet a second, it's mean, it's nasty. It's super lethal on humans and was designed just for war, just to be a military cartridge. And it excels at that because it's so small and so lightweight. You can carry, you think about these guys carrying M14s, chambered in 308 versus the guys carrying ARs chambered for 223, or if you want to call it 5.56 ammo, whatever. This is basically the same thing. You can carry so much more ammo and have such a bigger magazine capacity when you go with ammo this small. Now, you'll see on top of these old boxes, here's the 223 round that's in that box. Here is a 6mm Remington case neck down to 22. Just for shooting 70 and 80 grain bullets. It's got a 1 in 8 twist on the rifle. Here it is. This rifle would have, if you wanted to snipe with something as small as a 223, you could, because you're pushing 70 and 80 grain bullets down this barrel. And I'll tell you what, you're pushing 70 grain bullets at the same speed the 22-250 is pushing 45 and 50 grain bullets. That being over 3,800 feet per second. So with those really long bullets, you can reach way out there. The thing I don't like about the 223 for sniping is, even though it's fine for dispatching people, even at 800 yards with this setup here, I would change the optics, is that when you're shooting, you don't always see dirt signatures or rock signatures. When you hit something at 800 yards, you want to see a little puff of dirt out there, just so you know where you're hitting. And that's hard to do with the 22s and the 6MMs. It's much easier to do with 308 caliber stuff. But this rifle, 1 in 8 twist or 1 in 9 twist, I'm sure he's got it marked on here. He calls the caliber the 22 6mm. And Daryl made me this, gosh, close to 30 years ago. This is a bench rest Macmillan stock. I first worked up a load with JLK bullets, 70 grain JLK bullets, at just a little over 3,800 feet a second with reloader 22 powder. And I would sit and wait, like if I kicked up a coyote or a fox off these rural roads and I could see it running across the sage or running across a farmer's field, I would just get out of the vehicle, take a rest over the hood with my backpack, which was always in the vehicle, and there was no hurry. I just let them run. And, you know, I made a lot of 600-yard kills on coyotes and foxes, and that was in the days before laser rangefinders. You just let them run. I worked out a system where I could sort of kind of range them by looking at their size in my scope compared to the crosshairs on a certain power. And I became just really, really good at it. They'll run 500-600 yards. They will always turn around, turn broadside, and look at you when they feel like they're far enough out. And that's when I would touch the little jewel trigger. Takes just a few ounces of pressure to touch off the jewel trigger. I would hit the jewel trigger, and when you're running bullets at almost 4,000 feet a second, they cover 600 yards just like nobody's business. I mean, in a half a second, you'd see your impact on the coyote. You know, half a second from the time the gun went boom, you'd see impact. A really, really neat cartridge. It's a barrel eater. I never have fired it enough to eat the barrel. I've been very careful not to shoot it in long strings and overheat the barrel. And when I look at the barrel, the throat is, I mean, it's showing signs of washing out for sure, but it's nowhere near where it's going to impact accuracy yet. So that's the 22 6mm. Hotter than the 220 Swift, hotter than the 22 250. It's really, really a hot little cartridge. And it's kind of weird when you can shoot 75 grain bullets at, say, 3,800 feet a second. They reach out and hit so hard. They hit like you're shooting a 25-06. They just really smack things because all that retained velocity in that long, sleek, high ballistic coefficient bullet, they just cut through the air. They buck crosswinds really well. The downside is you're gonna have about, I don't know, 600 rounds of fun, maybe 700 rounds of fun, and you're gonna have to rebarrel your gun because it just eats barrels up with that fast twist and the heavy for caliber bullets. So these are my 223s, and these ARs set up like this, I have over a dozen of them. A lot of them are laying around the house in strategic places. I was always from the Clint Smith school of shooting, which is a handgun is designed to shoot your way to a rifle. And that's kind of how I look at it. You know, home invasions have always been a scary thing for me. So I have shotguns and AR-15s hidden around the house. And there's a lot more handguns in the house, but I can pick up a handgun and shoot my way to a rifle. You know, and if you're in the way, too bad for you. You won't survive it unless you can stop me. I am really, in my old age, really upset with people that make themselves into easy victims. You know, you're not armed in your house, or if you are, your gun's inside a locked safe, huh?
Or out in the wilderness, it's in your backpack on your bag.
Yeah, I mean, folks, I don't walk around nervous, but I do walk around with my eyeballs engaged and my brain engaged. And I don't need to be nervous because I have freaking firearms from handguns to long-range rifles scattered everywhere. You know, before my barn burned, I had an AR-15 in the barn and a 9mm handgun and a Ruger camp carbine and 9mm just living out in the barn. So if I was ever out there working and needed some kind of a self-defense rifle, I had one. You know, and by the way, when you buy new AR-15s, get them with 1-9 or 1-8 twists. If you have to, a 1-7 twist, but you really don't need them rotating that fast. But a good 1-8, 1-9 allows you to stabilize bullets, up into the 70 to almost 80 grain range if you go 1-8 twist. They're very handy.
And again, since we're on the bug out stuff, I mean, the importance of water for all you guys out there that live in the cities or, with everything going on in this world, and we've done a video on it, and we'll probably do another one on preparedness.
It's time to.
But I mean, water.
If you live in the city, let's say you live in Los Angeles, and there's a bad earthquake, and we all, if you've done any studying at all, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when a catastrophic earthquake is going to hit Western California. And when it hits in areas like LA or any of the big suburbs of LA, I mean, greater LA has over 10 million people in it. What happens is it breaks your water lines. The earthquake breaks your water lines. It tips over fuel reservoirs and starts electrical fires by, messing with electrical in buildings as they shift and shimmy and break. And you end up with fires everywhere, and you end up with no drinking water. Now, if you think you can, at a time like that, run down to the local convenience store and get a case of waters, you haven't thought this through. I'm trying to be polite. I mean, you're just a dumbass. So there, I got over the urge to be polite. You need to have not a couple of cases of drinking water stored in your house, in your basement. You need to have a couple hundred cases of drinking water. And I know what we did as a kid was we would buy the big, for commercial applications, the big 55-gallon drums of lime and lemon juice barrels. They're big plastic barrels. And other than smelling like lime juice inside, and my mom would wash them out. She'd bleach them a little bit, wash them out, and then she would fill those things full of water. We had about 15 of them, and we lived out in the country and had a well anyway. She would, so we had a good clean water supply, as we do in Wyoming where we live and Idaho where we live. We have wells. The well here in Idaho has a 10,000-gallon holding tank. So even if for some reason my generators shut down and I couldn't pump water and the electricity was out, we've still got 10,000 gallons in a holding tank. So,
not to mention the streams right outside our door.
Yeah, we've got fresh springs that bubble right out of the hillside. It's totally clean, potable, really good drinking water. And those, the closest one is only 100 yards from the house.
Well, and you're talking about earthquakes. I mean, what about corrupt government contamination of all water sources? I mean, that's
Okay. I mean, there's all kinds of reasons that things can go wrong and contaminate your water, drinking water. And to keep those things from growing bacteria, you just bleach, rinse them. And then when you fill them with water, you add a tablespoon of bleach. It's a lot less than you get in your chlorinated water from city systems. And it can't grow any bacteria or ever become toxic to a human to drink it. A tablespoonful of bleach is nothing, but it will keep the microbials away. Folks, this is the 223 is a great little go out varmint cartridge, shoot coyotes out to 300 yards, stuff like that. It's fine. But I see it really as a survival cartridge. I see it as a way to stay safe when things just aren't safe anymore. And everybody should have one or two, maybe three, and you should be skilled in using them, and you should have a good supply of ammo set aside. Folks, we hope this video is useful, and
keep your eyes wide open, your ears wide open, and pay attention and be smart out there.
Oh, our whole society is screwed, okay? We got men that need safe spaces. What the hell? Men are what are supposed to create safe spaces for everybody else. We've got people just looking for a reason to be offended. We've got prejudice, DEI, we've got corruption. We're not using our Constitution at all. Government is completely corrupted, folks. If you didn't see a bunch of that during COVID and during the Biden administration, then you're part of the problem. And if you are part of the problem, it doesn't mean that you're doomed to be that person forever. You can change that, and hopefully you will. But if you haven't seen what's going on, you are part of the problem. Now, we love you guys. We care about everybody. God bless. We'll see you on the next video.